Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It is Wednesday, September 2nd. We've got your top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you for choosing to be here to get updated on everything that's impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. I have to say, at least downtown here, this day started off pretty gloomy with some rain, but it has cleared up nicely. I hope that's the case where you are too. Here's what we'll be talking about today. We have your fall fun guide as we look ahead at Labor Day weekend. For a lot of people, that's the start of fall. No matter where you stand on that controversial issue, we've got lots of things you can do for fun here in the Cleveland area. That's from our WKYC contributor, Laura DeMarco. We've also got a little sneak peek of the new Progressive campaign with Baker Mayfield and Emily Mayfield, who worked with us as a 3 News special correspondent. We'll take a look at what they've got cooking up for us this season. Also, the new addition to the Cleveland Cavaliers uniform coming next season that's kind of a sore spot for Cavs fans. We will also take a look at a mental health study of adult males by the Cleveland Clinic and how they're being impacted by COVID-19. And of course, we've got your updated numbers from the Ohio Department of Health on how COVID-19 is impacting us here in Ohio, which is where we'll start right now. I am happy to be able to say that new daily reported cases and new daily reported deaths are down today. We always love to be able to say that. We hope we can have more days where we say that than the opposite of that. So let's give you those specific numbers. In the last 24 hours, there have been 1,157 new reported cases of COVID-19. Remember, that doesn't mean there have been that many new positive test results in the last 24 hours. They've just been reported to the Ohio Department of Health within the last 24 hours. That brings the total number of cases that we know about here in Ohio dating all the way back to March 9th to now 125,767. Now, according to the Ohio Department of Health, they estimate that about 87% of those cases are presumed to be recovered. Now, here's how they measure that. These are people who received or who noticed onset of their COVID-19 symptoms more than 21 days ago and are still alive. That's how they're measuring presumed recovered cases. And when you account for the people who have passed away from COVID-19, that means about 13% of those cases are presumed to be active right now. Our latest positivity rating is 4.5%, so that means for all of the tests of COVID-19 being done, 4.5% are coming back positive, which remains below the World Health Organization recommended threshold of 5%. Also positive news there. Our new hospitalizations are down for the last 24 hours. We have seen 95 in the last 24 hours, down from 103. And there are less people who are currently hospitalized today than there were yesterday. That total right now is 746 people who are in the hospital actively right now being treated for COVID-19. Of those 746 people, 244 are receiving treatment in an intensive care unit. So that's just under 33% of all the people hospitalized are in the ICU. And we've seen 14 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours. Our statewide hospital bed occupancy rate is at 76%, so that means 24% of all hospital beds in the state are available for people who do need inpatient treatment. Now let's take a look at the U.S. and the global numbers for COVID-19. These come from Johns Hopkins University. In the U.S., there have now been a total of 6,092,175 reported COVID-19 cases and a total of 185,123 deaths reported from COVID-19. That's a total of 1,253 new reported deaths in the last 24 hours here in the U.S. That's a significant jump from yesterday when we saw 612 new reported deaths from COVID-19 here in the U.S. And maintaining steady, as we've talked about for quite some time now, even though the U.S. population is 4.25% of the global population, we still have 22% of the known global deaths and 24% of the known global cases of COVID-19. Globally, there are now 25,835,301 reported cases of COVID-19 and 858,661 reported deaths related to COVID-19. Now, we know the impact of COVID-19 reaches far beyond the physical impact. It does have an impact on our mental health, and the Cleveland Clinic took that into account in their annual Mention It survey, which looks at the effects of the environment, the effects of the world, the current state of the mental health of adult males here. The survey talked to 1,000 American adults. So this extends beyond just Ohio. This is a survey done by the Cleveland Clinic. And the clinic found that more than 3 in 4 men reported an increase in stress level during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you right now. A majority of the men, 59%, say they have felt isolated during the pandemic. And 3 in 5 men, which 59% about is that same percentage, feel that COVID-19 has a greater negative impact on their mental health than the 2008 recession had on their mental health. 2/3 of men, about 66%, say they rarely talk about the impact of COVID-19 and what it's had on their mental health. This is the 5th annual Mention It campaign from the Cleveland Clinic, and what it does is it encourages an open conversation surrounding the mental and physical health of men. Eric Klein, who is chairman of Cleveland Clinic's Glickman Urological and Kidney Institute, Dr. Klein said that they couldn't take the temperature of the state of men's mental health this year without focusing on the one thing that has affected every person in this country and beyond. So those were their findings related to the mental health of adult males across the U.S. when it comes to how COVID-19 have impacted them. Now, this is something that is impacting all of us. Governor Mike DeWine has put into place a mental health resource center at the coronavirus dashboard. That's at coronavirus.ohio.gov. It's a little difficult to find if you don't know what you're looking for. So across the top, you'll see a couple of different tabs. One of them says families and individuals. So click on families and individuals, and that's where you can find mental health resources, particularly related to dealing with anxiety from COVID-19 and other things. You can also go directly to the Ohio Department of Health website to find more mental health resources. Now let's talk about the basketball world. We've seen basketball players wearing those special statement jerseys this year. Well, next year, the Cleveland Cavaliers will wear the Jordan brand JUMPMAN logo on those statement uniforms. So earlier this year, the NBA and Nike announced that the Jordan brand JUMPMAN logo would be used on each team's statement alternate uniform. These are those black jerseys that have the social justice statements on the back. So that means instead of that Nike swoosh, the Cavs black jersey will now feature Jordan's dunking silhouette. Now, this is a little bit of a sore spot, a little bit ironic for some Cavaliers fans, because the 5-time MVP's history of tormenting Cleveland is well documented. Do you remember the shot? It was in 1989 that Jordan's buzzer beater eliminated the Cavs from Game 5 of the playoffs. And if you take a look from 1988 to 1994, the Chicago Bulls, led by Jordan, ended the Cavs' playoff run 5 times. So, a lot of people not super excited about a Jordan logo being on the Cavs uniforms, but nevertheless, it is happening. And that jersey will also pay homage to our 2016 NBA title championship here in Cleveland as well. So we can expect to see that next year. A little bit of update on what those uniforms will look like in the upcoming NBA season. Switching gears to football, which will be starting up here very, very soon, in just a little over a week. Progressive has launched season 2 of its At Home with Baker Mayfield campaign. It's coming, well, they have announced the launch of it. We did see a behind-the-scenes look that both Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield and Emily Mayfield, who worked as our 3 News special correspondent, shared on social media today. Now, the whole idea is that we are getting a look at Baker and Emily at home at First Energy Stadium. So they put out a little preview of that, a little behind the scenes. We get to see Baker and Emily talking about book club, among other things. There will also be some cameos from some other people. The 2020 first-round pick Jedrick Wills Jr. is expected to make a cameo. We'll also see Bobby the groundskeeper. And that's we can expect to see the first edition of that on Thursday, September 10th, which also happens to be the opener for the NFL season. Not for the Browns, though. The Browns kick off the season on September 13th against the Baltimore Ravens away. That's what's on the schedule right now. Now let's move to some more fall fun. So as we said, a lot of people consider Labor Day weekend to be the end of summer, the beginning of fall. I like to stretch out my summer a little bit longer, but nevertheless, we have an incredible fall fun guide for you from our WKYC contributor, Laura DeMarco. Here's just a couple of the things that are coming up, and some of them coming up here very soon. The St. Rocco Festival, which is a huge festival it's a large Italian fest that's held every year in Cleveland. It's going drive-through this year, so that's going to be from 11 to 7, September 4th through 7th. You can get the famous sausage sandwiches, the meatballs, the cannoli, the lasagna, spaghetti, limoncello cake, and the zappoli, which is those fried dough balls covered in powdered sugar. So put that on your calendar. Also, the Polish Fest will also be drive-through for some treats. That's from 4 to 7 on Friday and Saturday this weekend, September 4th and September 5th. So there'll be pierogi platters, kielbasa sandwiches, all that good stuff. That's in Parma. We've got the specific address on WKYC.com. Also coming up here very soon, Cedar Point has decided not to have Hollow Weekends this year, but they are having something else in its place. It's called the Tricks and Treats Fall Fest. That's kicking off September 12th through November 1st. It'll be on Saturdays and Sundays. There'll be trick-or-treating, other activities, and children specifically are encouraged to wear costumes so they can do some trick-or-treating. And one more thing you'll want to know about, Mapleside Farms is bringing back its Pumpkin Village, opening up September 19th through November 1st. They'll have themed weekends. The opening weekend theme, the 19th and the 20th, is Princesses and Pirates. They've also got a great pumpkin theme happening October and 11th. Superheroes weekend, October 16th through the 18th. Space is limited. You do want to get your tickets in advance. They'll have that massive hillside slide. They will have the apple orchard. You'll be able to get tours, all of that good stuff. You're going to want to reserve that in advance. We've got that link on WKYC.com and in our WKYC app. That's it for your 3 News Now afternoon update for Wednesday, September 2nd. I will see you next on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. If you don't already, download our app and you can watch What's New and all of our live broadcasts live right in the app. Just click on the watch button at the bottom. Super easy to do. I will be out tomorrow morning, but I will be back tomorrow afternoon with you for your 3 News Now update. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.